Have you ever found yourself listening to just one side of the story and already started forming opinions, blaming, judging, or even taking sides? Most of us do. And this is where the true active listening gets compromised. Every story has conflicts, right? And these stories carry two emotions, two opinions, and two perspectives, two truths. But when we just listen to one side of the story, we are left half understanding, right? And half judgmental, and the consequences we may even risk misjudging the person or the situation. Say, for example, there's a mom and a child. The child comes from the school and after some time, she just bangs the door forcefully and leaves the room. The mom complains of her child's arrogance and disobedience to the neighbor. This is one side of the story. Just take a pause. On the other side, when you go and talk to the child says, she's got a bad day in school, people were bullying her, and when she came home and spoke about it to her mother, the mother asked, "Why are your marks very low? First answer this, rest next." Now here, the side of the story totally changed. The arrogance or the rudeness converted into the pain of the child, right? The disobedience is nothing but the cry of understanding towards the child. Now you see, you understand. In similar ways, say for example, even in friends, relatives, parents, teachers, sisters, spouse, or any relation of that matter, we get into a lot of bias by just listening to one side of the story. What happens, let me tell you. We have so many bias in true active listening being compromised. For example, confirmational bias. We already start believing what our beliefs are confirmed. Our beliefs are true. Number two, there's something called emotional bias. We judge the person or the situation based on our emotions at that particular point of time, right? There's something called halo effect, which means when we like someone, we overlook their mistakes. And we dislike someone, we catch everything what they do is bad, or we judge them as a bad person, right? There's also something called the negative effect, which means every time you are in a distress situation or stress or anxiety, the mind thinks all negative and takes all negative and will not be able to predict or understand or listen to what is true and what is a fact. And lastly, there's something called attribution effect, which means when we do some mistakes, we blame the situation. But when others do some mistakes, we blame their character. And so on and so forth. There's a lot of bias which comes into the picture when we just listen to one side of the story and the other side is left unheard. Not always the one who cries, the one who is louder, or the one who is seeking sympathy is always true. As true as empathy, which is very important in life, it's also important to understand that empathy just doesn't come from one side of a story. Empathy doesn't just come from one person who is crying, who is more emotional, who is blaming others, or who is being louder, right? The truth might always be hidden. So what can we do from today? Let's not judge the person by just listening to one side of the story. Either we can just keep quiet, or from the next time we hear to the story, let's try and understand on both sides, both perspectives, both truths, both emotions before we come to any conclusion. Because every day there are conflicts between every relation in life. And there might be because of your misjudgment or because of your misunderstanding or because of you thinking bad about the other person, it could lead to a lot of chaos, uncertainties and confusions and break a relation. So, can we from today, even myself, learn a lesson, follow it and reflect on avoiding the misjudgment, and why don't we listen to both sides of the story and try and understand the people and the situation in the right way. Thank you so much. See you soon with yet another video.